Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Streams of Income podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you are willing to give me some of your time to listen to either a business lesson or an interview with an amazing entrepreneur. So once again, thank you for listening to the Streams of Income podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. All right, we are here with Mr. Len Ward, and I finally did it, guys. Usually I get into a good discussion before I hit record, and the best part of the podcast is not recorded, and that's when we talk about weird things that y'all sometimes are more interested in hearing about. But this time I hit record first, Mr. Ward. So if you will, give us a little intro about yourself, but after that, I want to dig into a little bit of your history, like past jobs and things like that before we talk AI.
Sure. So my name is Len Ward. I'm the managing partner of Commexus. Commexus is an AI-first agency, formerly a digital marketing agency, although we still do that a little bit, where we help companies go from search and retrieve to solve my problem. So search and retrieve for over the better part of the last 20 years, you've searched for or searched on Google, you went on somebody's website, you kind of dug through all your notes, you read blogs, you watched videos and formulated an opinion and contacted somebody. With AI, that has changed. Now people want their problem solved immediately. So we install systems on their websites internally and externally for the company to use, where customers, prospective customers, even internal team can go to like these platforms and they can have their questions answered immediately, so your business moves faster, where technically, not to use a tagline, but speed is your moat right now in AI. So
Yeah, awesome. So there's a heck of a lot more than a chatbot.
Yeah.
And what I've run into at even some big companies, their chatbots are crap.
They are, and I think that's the thing. I think that's the problem. I think some of the AI chatbots are probably getting like a really bad rap because you're used. We go to these chatbots, right? You go to them, they don't give you an answer, or they're just trying to collect a lead, or they're telling you to go to a part of the website. When you have a really good AI chatbot that's based on your website's content and you have a data room attached to it, it can answer questions about 98.9% accurate, as well as any human can, which is a little frightening, but good when you're trying to get your business to move quicker.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. All right, so before we dig into AI and a little more about what Commexus does, how did you get from, young Len Ward, like first jobs, that kind of thing, all the way up to like the Morgan Stanley era?
Yeah, so I started life when I was younger, and I always wanted to be either out of the gate. I wanted to either be a state trooper for New Jersey, like a cop, or eventually that morphed into being a lawyer. So I went to college, I was pre-law, and I kind of really thought my road was going to be somewhere in criminal justice, whatever capacity it would be. And eventually I kind of got to want to be a lawyer. I used to caddy when I was younger at a golf course, and I remember caddying I never forget the gentleman's name. His name was Jack Smiley. He was a much older gentleman out of Pittsburgh. He was an attorney, and he looked me dead in the eye and he warned me, he goes, "Do not become an attorney." He goes, "Especially do not become a criminal attorney." And I listened to him I think he might have been a little jaded in the industry. But anyway, all through college, I knew somebody was working at Morgan Stanley. I was able to get into their stock training program, and I became basically a stockbroker at Morgan Stanley. And then through another connection I had, I was able to move into the institutional world, which was Credit Suisse. And that's where I really learned all the inner workings of finance, how stocks become public, how people evaluate companies, really sitting in at a young age and listening to really, really brilliant people kind of talk about how you invest and, how you do things. And I was able to sit, in boardrooms in New York City, Washington, D.C., Philadelphia. It's a really great experience. But it was during the dot-com era. And the dot-com era, we know that bubble, happened. And the problem is that you realize the smart people in the room knew that we had a problem on our hands, while the other people in the room, who pretty much aren't on Wall Street anymore, they weren't paying attention to it. I'm seeing a lot of similarities right now. But so,
in government and business.
Yeah, I really am. So, but what happened from there was, my Wall Street days came to an end. And I had a little bit of knowledge armed with me, really realizing that this internet thing was really going to grow. And this was probably about 2004, 2005. And I was part of a partnership. We started up an e-commerce company. So what happened with the e-commerce company, we realized that we had to market it, right? So you had to learn digital marketing. So I had to learn how to market, back then more than just Google. There was multiple search engines, eBay, all kinds of different places for e-commerce. Fast forward, that business did well, but then the '08 housing crisis happened and people weren't buying our things, which was high-end luxury tickets, high-end Broadway, high-end concert, sporting events, and so forth. Like they wanted to pay their mortgage, right? So I had we knew that business was going to kind of like have some issues. And, we basically said, all right, let's walk away from this now before it gets bad and we incur any debt, which we did. We kind of walked away pretty clean. But I had some people asking me, they're saying, hey, what did you do for digital marketing? How did you get yourself on Google? What is this thing called SEO? Because I actually went back to school and kind of taught myself this from the ground up. I was like, we have to, because we hired an agency and that agency really wasn't doing anything. Like we realized that they're like doing nothing. Yeah.
So this was the old days of SEO and all that, right?
Yep.
I mean, like pre-Shopify kind of stuff.
Oh yeah. This is where you could write the right meta tag, like the right title tag, and you would rank almost immediately. Yeah. Where, believe it or not, one of the great things for e-commerce back then was if you wrote your eBay title just right on eBay, you were indexed in Google and Yahoo, which was, that was a gold mine. People just, that's how we kind of learned. But so I had some people ask me, what to do. And I kind of took on a couple clients for free because I wanted to see if I could, do this, digital marketing, which was a really brand new term back then. And it started working. And actually, it got to the point where digital marketing I knew was going to be crazy. I got to the point where I was like a solo practitioner. I had to unplug my phone. Like the amount of calls that were starting coming. I just used to place little ads. I used to put ads in the newspaper. That just show you where we were.
Oh, well.
Can build a website, can, get traffic to your site, something crazy like that I used to put in. And what happened was as my business built and I started building networks and relationships, next thing you know, I had a full service digital agency from social media, website design, video. I think at one point I had about 25 people working for me. So the agency was really, really growing. And then COVID hit, obviously had some issues, but it was right there that, right around the COVID era and a little before that, you were always hearing the murmurs in the marketing world about automation and how automation, not like what we were using back then, which was you could do some HubSpot and things like that. No, the buzz of AI was really beginning to grow 7-8 years ago. So if you were in marketing, you were starting to listen to that. And then as it grew more and more, I always kind of paid attention to what was going on because you know why? It was an existential threat to marketing. Like, we knew like, hey, if they automate all this, we're done. Like, why are you're paying us to implement, right? Strategy and implement. Well, if AI can do that, our business is done. So you always paid attention to the meteor out, in the stratosphere was going to hit you or not. So, and then what happened is about 3.5 years ago, we tested out, before that, about 5 years ago, we tested out IBM Watson. And then, fast forward about 3.5 years ago, I guess now, right? Almost 4, ChatGPT was released. And the minute I was 5 minutes on there, I put all the chips in the center of the table. I said, this is going to change everything that we've ever seen. And even though it had some hiccups and all that, and that's when we completely positioned our company, slimmed the company all the way down to the great staff I have now, very small staff, but talented. And that's why we've moved everything into pretty much coming in and building out AI platforms for you with the center feature really being marketing, but we do really heavily look at sales, customer service, and internal processes as well. So long-winded story. That's here I am at 53. Here's where I sit.
Yeah, I love it though. I mean, riding the different waves of these revolutions. I mean, the e-commerce, the AI emerging. It's a neat story because it's the people that catch that early that really understand it. Because I still run into a lot of people nowadays that talk about how the first thing I'll say is right, AI is going to steal your job. And then I heard one guy actually say the other day, if AI could take your job, it should. You should find something to do that it can't, or manage AI. And you guys have found your little niche right there on that works for you.
Yeah, it's funny because I'm in a bit of a camp where with AI losing jobs, and I do think we're going to see some issues, but I think the issues are going to come from another angle. And I think the issues we're going to come with is, I think larger companies that employ thousands of people are not taking AI too seriously. So they're not putting the money they're putting behind AI is not what needs to be done. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of much smarter people than me. They always call it out saying they'll put the AI tools in front of the employees, but there's no training. Then IT gets involved, and then it just turns into a nightmare where you can't get anything done, and all you're doing is doing emails with it, or a little bit of research. But what I think is going to happen is that it's not that the employee doesn't understand AI. It's because you're not allowing the employee to do AI to its max capability. And I think these larger companies are now going to find themselves in trouble because smaller companies, like I'm talking 2-3 person shops, threatening a 10,000 person shop because they're able to move so fast. And the unemployment's going to come from larger companies falling because they're not paying attention to this. So that's kind of where I think that could take place. I do believe companies are going to probably come in and try to automate a lot. And if you are part of a manual type labor force, especially in the white collar world, I think you have a problem on your hands. But I do think that's not being talked about is the larger companies not adapting and the smaller companies that are rising that are going to pose a serious threat to them. They keep looking at their competitors, which are the same size as them. They need to start looking at the competitors that are real small because that's a problem. So that's
absolutely. And I'm really intrigued also as AI rises and we're starting to see a few white collar jobs going away because of it or merging. There's also the rise in people pushing young people towards trades like plumbing and HVAC. And I love how it's weirdly aligned at the same time.
I can tell you right now, I have one college age son, and we are beginning to push him more towards an IT world, which I think he will do very well. And by the way, I think IT is going to do tremendous in this new world. So we're kind of moving him more towards installation of that stuff. Like he's thinking about actually helping install racks and things like that, which is actually something that is needed. And my youngest son, who's in high school, has already said he wants to get into something working with his hands, and I am 100% behind it. I'm a college grad, and I never would have thought I've said that, but I think if you have a child right now, I still think a couple of years of community college is good to get that life experience, really understand the X's and O's of life. But I would seriously debate, and I'm not knocking this on anybody, but I debate the ROI going forward on a massive college investment opposed to working with your hands. I just think that the money is going to come from people working with their hands, and it's needed. Quite honestly, it's needed in this country. So.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's no way AI is going to take it. It's only going to enhance those jobs. I mean, troubleshooting, things like that, but you still got to put hands on. Yeah, I've got 5 kids, and 2 of them grown out of the house, and one of them is a journeyman plumber right now, and the other one's in construction. And community college was it. That's all they wanted to do, and then they took off.
That's going to be looked at as a brilliant move. I really think that's what's happening right now. I mean, think about it. They're talking about unemployment in the next couple of years for kids coming out of college at 30%. Could you imagine your kid is saddled with $200,000 or $100,000 in debt, and he's not, he can't even get a job that's paying him more than minimum wage? That's not fair to that kid. Yeah. So that's why I think parents have to have hard conversations, and I've said this too, where we vilified people for years working with their hands, and you got to be a doctor or a lawyer. So okay, that's great. Not everybody in the world can be a doctor and a lawyer. How many doctors and lawyers do we really need? Although and I think that grassroots mentality is starting to take hold in a lot of households right now, which is great, which is like, look, this is where if you want to have a stable job, you want to make money, you want to make sure that no one's going to be threatening you, working with your hands is exactly what you need to do. And I agree. I just think there's a lot of things AI can do, but there's certain things when it comes to, I heard a AI like genius say, tactile with your hands. There are certain things that AI, no matter what you think, it's never going to be able to rationalize. And from a tactile perspective, it's probably never going to be able to get there. And that's exactly what we're talking about right now. My wife's a nurse, and I'm like, you're probably one of the safest people out there right now. My daughter's a hairdresser. I'm like, you're probably one of the safest people out there. So same page.
Oh, yeah. But the great thing is, I mean, even these guys say one man with a plumbing business and some AI running the website, things like that. I mean, it's a full-fledged business.
Oh, yeah. I mean, AI is going to help solve problems. I think AI, they're going to know what the job is before they even come out there. I think I think a lot of homes are going to be running AI. Like, I think you're going to be surprised that your home within the next 10 years is going to be a breathing entity of AI, and it's going to constantly know what's going on in the house. And if something's wrong with the plumbing or electric, it's going to know. So the plumber's going to know right away coming in saying, this is the job. It's not going to be an estimate or a quote. You're going to know it right away. You're going to know the parts, and it's going to make it better because you're going to know the parts you have to stock. You're going to need the staff that you have to have. Like, so as homes move into the AI world, I think that's where it's really, really going to benefit people like, your son's business and so forth. That's kind of what's on the horizon.
Yeah, I love it because I live in an old farmhouse, and anytime we have a problem here, first it's a matter of finding out where it's coming from, and then it's a mess. So a New Jersey state trooper. I mean, because I'll be honest with you, I'm down in South Carolina, and us Southerners, when we travel, we carry certain personal protective items with us.
Sure,
and I avoid New Jersey. I drive around New Jersey when I'm traveling because their troopers have a reputation for just no nonsense and So, but I mean, you've probably made a heck of a lot more money though going a different route though.
I mean, sometimes I regret not going down that road, but then there's sometimes when I look around and I say to myself, I don't think I would have been a good cop. Like, I think I might have been fired in the first year or two because I'm like, my patience is real thin with somebody. Yeah. So I feel like it would have been a problem. So I think it was maybe God's way to kind of move me over here to say, yeah, we're not going to give you a firearm and a car to drive around in. So we're not doing this. So he's like, all right, you're going to go here and build websites. Yeah. So,
you would have jerked somebody out of a car for nothing.
Yeah, I would have been on the news. So.
All right. So yeah. So at Commexus, what exactly? Tell me what you guys do that differentiates you. Because I was looking at the website and I saw your lab section on there, and there's a few posts in the lab section that sounded pretty cool. Because I've not seen a lot of other guys running tests like that, just kind of for fun and to show the rest of us what is actually going on. And so, how do you guys do things differently?
Yeah, and actually, I'm trying. Thanks for looking at that. We're actually trying to ramp that up even more. We're trying to so we go in there and we kind of give people tutorials on how to do things, and this is how we're looking at it and testing it. So I think what's different from us is that we really come in and we have that conversation with companies, and we try to get them to understand, because normally the conversation will start with marketing, and it'll come in and it'll say we're not getting as much traffic as we were getting, or we're not getting the leads we were getting. And that's when I have the conversation. I say, that's because your consumer's changing. There's 1 billion people a week that are on ChatGPT and various different AI platforms. Google's getting less and less search, no matter what anyone is telling you on Wall Street and what you're reading, how they're telling you, oh, search is still strong. They're absolutely out of their minds. We are on the front lines of it. We're seeing it. Every single traffic client that we have is beginning to traject down, no matter how well you do. So that's beginning to wrap up. And what's happening is, even when customers get to your website, it's clunky. They got to go through all these blogs. They got to go through maybe all these videos, or they got to read all the content. You don't realize that when an individual goes to ChatGPT or Gemini, which I like a lot by Google, and you type in a query, or you type in this is what I'm thinking, and it comes back with an answer right away. People expect that to translate over to the website that they eventually arrive on if they get to the website. And that's how we kind of work with clients. We come in and say, we prepare you for that. So we install 4 or 5 systems that we know is going to work right away for you. That's what's going to happen. We then, as you're growing in the AI world, as we're looking at the data, what the customers are asking, what you're coming back with, looking at all your marketing data, your sales, your customer service data, and your internal data, we then take a step back and say, all right, we're going to build this product, and this product. We start identifying other products that we can build that truly turn you into an AI, forward person. So that's kind of what we do. Our engagement is about 12 to 18 months. And after that, you're pretty much in flight, although we're always there to kind of help you out and jump in and, hey, we'd like to build a new product or so forth. But your team will be at a point after working with us in 12 to 18 months where you are building your own products. You are AI first. You may just need somebody to consult with you when you're trying to think of things in a different light. But that's what we do. Clients tend to like it, and we're definitely seeing some success out of it. And I do think this is the future of marketing. I think this is what agencies are going to look like going forward.
Yeah, I like it, because another thing I really like about it is that I'm not having to research all the AI, like what's coming out, what's the best for this, what's the best for that, because it's easier to rely on guys like you that, it's your full-time job to be up on the research instead of me trying to figure out something that I don't even know what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Well, I think you're in a great world right now, too, where people always say, well, how do I learn more about AI? And I say, ask it. Literally go to ChatGPT, go to Gemini, and say, teach me about you. You'd be surprised. The advancements, though, I get a little concerned with people who aren't actually embracing it. The advancements right now that we're seeing over the last 6 months, I guess I've been doing this, like I said, better part of 3.5 years. The advancements over the last 6 months are speeding up dramatically. And I think the people that are not at least really beginning to kind of start teaching themselves this stuff, or at least, staying atop of what's going on, especially if you're a business owner, you have a problem on your hands by next year, because the moats are really starting to widen right now. And I keep coming back. It's speed. Speed is everything right now. And too many people are just hemming and hawing and thinking about it. And we're beyond that point. So if this is a land grab, and everybody's running out grabbing their land, you're still at the start line. And everybody's out there. They're building their homes already. Like, I don't know what you're waiting for. So that's kind of where we are with it.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the old Moore's Law when they were, expanding microchip capacity, and it was supposed to double every 18 months or something like that. Chat seems to be, or not chat, but just AI. I mean, seems to be moving even faster.
The building, that. I mean, obviously the data centers. I mean, people are concerned about that, and the building things out, and and it's a good correlation. A lot of people are complaining about the data centers, and I get it. I'm kind of in the camp of what's the impact this is going to have? Like, what are we doing here? And but people don't understand why they're building out these data centers so rapidly. But if you are building products in AI, if you are building agents, if you are really ramping up your AI build, because we are beyond the knowledge era of AI, and we are in the building era of AI now. Yeah. So that's why I said people have to really pay attention, because some people aren't even at the knowledge era. So now we're at the building era. So if you're kind of coming in behind it, it's a problem. But we're at a bandwidth with the building era. So when you are working with a product called like OpenClaw or Claude Code, and maybe you're trying to build a product on Replit or Lovable, you're realizing there is a little bit of bandwidth issues, and things are costing money, a lot of money, to build certain things. It's because we just don't have the capacity out there to build these things. And that's why they're trying to ramp these data centers up so quick, because when everybody's in there doing it, then it becomes like a really good system. Right now, that's the biggest single factor right now. It's one of the reasons why, if anybody's used Sora, which was an excellent app by ChatGPT to create the videos, amazing. That's the reason they discontinued it. They had to try to allocate where the funds could go. Like, we just don't have all this capability. So that's why you're seeing the data centers. And I think the minute you get really involved with AI and really kind of go in deep and understand it, you understand why they're building the data centers. But I'm also on the flip side of that. And I've had multiple conversations with people about this. As much as we're building out these big things, America has always, the goal of technology is to make things as small as possible. So I think the days of the data centers, you're going to find out that they're going to be the size of closets in the next 10 years. We're just going to find a way to bring it. That's how we operate in America. We know that. Make it better, make it smaller. So we're heading down that road.
I'm a little irritated they killed Sora with too many people making cat videos. Because that seemed like all that came out of it for a bit. Me and my kids, we watched them all the time. And we'd always joke about it, like, that's not AI. That cat has a machine gun. Yeah. That's real.
Banging through the door and all that. Yeah. No, it was a great app. And what was really good? It was a great app because video is the number one thing for marketing right now. Video is far and away the king. And if you're not doing it, you should be doing it. But Sora gave you an opportunity where you could record your face if you ever did it. And that's how you had the lifelike videos. You could actually just do your face and have your marketing team or you go in and create videos of you doing things. And if you had the right eye, you're like, okay, that's AI. But the average person didn't know. Yeah. And you were able to make these videos, and you didn't have to bring out this big recording crew and all of that. Like, I remember for us, we would go out and we would film days of B-roll footage and all kinds of stuff just to create like a client asset library. Yeah. With AI, that's not necessary anymore. Now, there is other replacements, but Sora was really good. I do think they're going to bring it back in an iteration, but I'm with you. That was one of their best components. I really wish they didn't do it. They should have just charged people. People would have paid it.
Yeah. Yep. And they would have made a ton of money off that too. People would have kept doing it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So the next trillionaire, I guess, is going to be the person that finds out how to shrink the data centers. I mean, I think that's going to be some stock to invest in.
Yeah. And I know, and I keep an eye on NVIDIA. I got a feeling that they're going to be one of the ones that, because of what they're doing now, but it's going to be a Google, a Microsoft. It's going to be someone like that that's going to come in and say, okay, we're going to do this a lot smaller. Yeah. So, I mean, you just have to look at the history of what we did. I mean, if you go to University of Pennsylvania, there's a computer over there that's the size almost of a quarter of a city block. Yeah. That was what computers looked like in 1948. I remember going to my dad. I used to work with my dad, or not work with my dad. I used to go with my dad to work when he had to work on Saturdays, and he was a computer programmer way back, late 70s, 80s. the machines were massive. They were huge rooms, and now this thing is more powerful than the entire company he was working at. So I think that's kind of where we're headed. But we're just in that divisive era, I think, of our country where, there's just, it's one side versus the other side. And sooner or later,
on everything.
Sooner or later we'll figure it out. But for now, I just think that's where we are. You either love it or you hate it.
Oh, yeah. Man, your dad's time, though, I guess he was using punch cards and stuff, right?
Yes. Daisy wheels and all that stuff. And it was, and it's funny because he was another one I guess I took up after my dad. My dad left that career and started something. He became, actually very influential in the golf world after that, which was years later. So which was very weird. So me and my dad kind of followed that same path. But yeah, my dad was one of the original computer programmers. I'd sit down, I'd watch it. He'd show me a couple things, but that's, and he always stayed up with the technology, even at 83. My dad's pretty good with technology this day. It never left him. Once you do that technology, it kind of stays with you.
Yeah. I mean, he learned it at the foundation too. I mean, he has a knowledge bank of stuff we would never understand.
Oh yeah. Well, I think some of this smaller stuff I don't think he understands either. But it was really cool at a young age. I was exposed to that. I was able to see it. I was actually able to work on it, which was kind of cool. I liked it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So as we get closer to drawing down, I always like to ask everybody that comes on top 3 resources that if somebody said, hey, I need 3 books, 3 podcasts, whatever, that will help me be successful just in life. What's your go-to stuff for that? What do you recommend?
I think The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, if you're thinking about striking out and being a business owner, is imperative to read. It's almost mandatory. Before you make the decision to quit your job and invest money in a business, the E-Myth basically identifies if you're like an entrepreneur or not. And if you're going to do it, this is how you have to do it. It really identifies if you're a task person, if you're more of a manager, or if you're more of an entrepreneur. So it's called The E-Myth. It is probably one of the...
It's on the bookshelf behind me.
You know it. Then you know it. It's a great book, and it's something for people to read. I then go to the next book, which is great, which is called Simple Numbers. And I can't remember the Greg, and I can't remember his last name, but it escaped me. But it really breaks down accounting and business mathematics in a really, really easy way because, look, unless you're a CFO or an accountant, the finances in business, it can get really squirrely really quick. Like, I don't care how good you are. We all have a tough time struggling with it. But Simple Numbers is really good. You just go to Amazon, type in Simple Numbers, and it'll come right up. It's Greg, is the author's first name, at least. So you had that. I guess, from a third book, I'm trying to think. A third book that would be good. I think Good to Great is excellent. That's another one that's great. So you really identify how companies, broke through and became great. I think what's going to be great is the next edition that may come out because of all these new companies that are happening right now. Yeah. But I'll give you.
He's got a new book getting ready to come out.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, he was doing some. I got an email the other day. He's been kind of building up the pre-launch buzz for it.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Yeah, I haven't seen it. The best piece of thing I think resource you can go to, though, is go to ChatGPT, go to a section called Pulse. A lot of people don't realize this. There's something called Pulse on the left-hand side. Click it. Pulse is your daily task updater. So what it does is you go in and say, I want updates. Give me a 101 5-minute training on AI every morning. It'll do it for you. Give me 3 stories I need to read about my stocks that I own in my mutual fund or my retirement account. And then maybe give me one trade to make my plumbing business better every day. Give me one thing that I could do to make my plumbing business better. Anyway, you could curate this list all the way down. As you're having your morning coffee, your morning power drink, whatever it may be, you can literally open that up, read it, and you are so far ahead of the day. It's a curated news just for you. And it could train, it could talk, and you could talk back to it. So it's almost like reading a newspaper, right? Or watching a YouTube video or a podcast, and you can start interacting with it. So those are the things that I would do. So those are the books that I would take a look at. That's the resources I would do. And whatever you do, if you don't understand what to do or you don't understand how to start AI, no matter what angle you are in life, sit down with ChatGPT and say, teach me how to use you. And you will be surprised how it will teach you. And it'll teach you rapidly.
Yeah, awesome. See, those 2 books I knew, and I'm going to put those in the show notes, but the Chat Pulse, I learned something from every podcast I do an interview for. Yeah. And so that's one I did not know about.
Yeah, it's cool.
And, all right, one last big question, and this is going to be like a weird one. I've got a friend that sells luxury watches. I briefly saw a glimpse of a timepiece on your wrist. What are you wearing?
I just have a Bullet on right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very affordable watch. I'm not into the Rolex world or anything like that, although I'd like to be one day. But believe it or not, I always liked watches. I always was an Apple Watch guy forever. And I actually took my fantasy football championship winnings this year out of our league. I was like, you know what? I'll buy a watch. So it's $1,000 if you want to buy it. That's all it is. Matter of fact, I think you get on sale for like $700 if you you get the right discount on it. But yeah, I like it.
Oh, so, yeah. That's the right mix of looks and affordability.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've actually, because, which is what I do. I'm nuts. I fell down a rabbit hole with it, with Grazili and a bunch of these other places you can go to buy and sell. I mean, I never realized, I was always a fan of like great watches, but it's a nice watch or something, but I didn't realize the industry behind it. Of course you knew Rolex, of course you knew all the big brands, but I didn't realize the secondary market behind it. I was really, really surprised. I was like, wow, that's a really cool thing. So if they're in that industry,
they're pretty huge.
Yeah, they're in a great industry. That's even so much so that I heard Rolex is now, they're trying to cut the middleman out of reselling their watches because of how much money's in there, which I thought was very interesting. Yeah. So
that's like the car dealers moving to certified pre-owned.
Yeah, it's the same thing. They are literally trying. They're basically saying, why go there? Come to us. And you're going to, you're buying it off us and it's good. So yeah, but neat industry. I like it.
Yeah, nice. All right, so any last piece of advice or anything you could offer us?
No, that's it. If you haven't done AI, just make sure that you are engaging in it and start. If you haven't started, start today.
Yeah. All right, and I'll say this in regard to your career path is don't be afraid to leave something or to even leave something you thought you wanted to do. I mean, if you see new opportunities or realize you want to do something different or maybe this one stalled out, don't hesitate to jump into something different.
No, a line I live by that I was told years ago, it's a line I live by is indecision will kill you. Once you make that decision, that's it, and then just move forward with it. Like literally, that's what it is. And don't be afraid to jump, hop to hop. The days of working at one company or one thing for 35 years, while admirable, that's a bygone era, especially where we are right now with technology. Don't lock yourself in and feel like you're in a room and you can't get out. That's bullshit. If you understand AI right now, you're so far ahead of everybody, you can do anything you want to do. Starting your own business, become invaluable to the company, whatever it may be. But yeah, if you have a chance to jump and you're not happy, take it.
Yeah, awesome. Well, Len, thanks for being with us. And I'll include everything if anybody wants to get in touch with Commexus in the show notes. And I appreciate you being here with me.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Hey, everybody. Before we close out, first of all, I hope you enjoyed that podcast, whether it was an interview with an amazing entrepreneur or a business lesson for me. I sincerely hope that you gained something from it that you can use in your life moving forward. Before I leave, though, I need to mention that this podcast is sponsored by Lowe's Home Improvement Stores. I have become a Lowe's creator. It's a pretty cool thing because on this farm, I'm looking out the window right now and seeing all the things that I want to do around here. Most of these things I can do with products from Lowe's Home Improvement. And so I'm excited to be a Lowe's creator. If you want to check out some things from them and order some stuff and see my specially curated Lowe's storefront, you can click in the show notes. There's a link there for you. And I hope you build some amazing things. And hey, you know what? If you do, send me pictures. I would absolutely love to see the amazing things that you're building at your house using Lowe's products or anything else, really. I'm just curious. I want to know everything about you and everything about the cool projects you're doing because I'll be honest with you, I get some neat ideas for things I want to do at my house as well. All right, y'all take care. Thanks for listening.